All Home DIY Dad here today. I'm going to show you how to run string lights even if you don't have very good mounting options or any posts or places in your yard to fasten them to. I installed my string lights partially off of my garage in the back, but then I had no places out in my yard to actually fasten them to. So I want to show you how to get creative, how you can still run string lights even if you don't have a place to mount them to. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of how you want to run your string lights and you'll get as good results as I did. We're very happy with ours, so hopefully you feel the same. In the description, I'll post a link to all the products needed to do this project along with the tools. You're going to need crimpers for fastening hardware onto the wire. The wire that I bought actually comes with a lot of this hardware needed, which is nice, but you're still going to need some snipping tools, drills to fasten everything. Not posted on this picture is also a whole bunch of zip ties for fastening the lights, and then you obviously are going to need the lights that you're going to want to hang, and I would recommend doing the warm style lights so that it doesn't attract as many bugs. You're also going to need turnbuckles. Helps tighten the wires when you're installing them and tightening the rope so that they're not drooping so much. This is a handy little tool for attaching the eye bolts on to any location that you need that isn't a bolt. So if you're screwing in an eye bolt, these things really help with the drill to screw them in because they can actually grip onto the outside. So we're going to get started. This is my first fastening point. It's on the end of my pergola that I already had up. So get a little creative. I'm using this as a fastening point to run my string lights off of and run the guide wire with. And then I have 4 points on the eaves of my garage. One there, we're going to do another one here, and then 2 more in between to create a really nice place to fasten all the rope and the string lights to when we're installing them. Here's another mounting point location that I had to get a little creative with. I already had this post in the ground for my electrical, and so I got another pole that I could put up as another fastening point between my pergola fastening point and my first garage one. I did not want to run any lights over the pool, so this is a good spot to put a pole as another fastening point. Now is the real tricky part where we don't have any place that we can attach the string lights to. So I made these DIY flower pot string light poles, and they turned out really awesome and kind of inconspicuous, so you really don't see them when you're out in the area, and it's almost like the lights are floating. So if you're interested in learning the details on how I made those, and those would be good for your application, there's a link here above. You can click on that video, and I'll also post a link to that one in the description so that you can head over there, learn the specifics on how to make one of those. Now that we've got all of our mounting points, we can start running the guide wire with the turnbuckles attached. So clipping mine to the pergola, gonna run some line out, and this is the start of mounting everything up. On to the next mounting point here, which is the pole I have on that post. I'm going to show you this one time so I don't bore you, but you have to cut the wire each time, put the crimping nut on, and then the little turnbuckle on the wire, and then the little nut that you fasten down to keep everything tight. This is how you keep, snip the wire and fasten it without it slipping. So we get that one up. Get that one tightened up with the turnbuckles a little bit. I don't want to tighten all of them because I kind of do that at the end. And then we'll move on over to the first fastening point over on the garage. And you can see in this angle that I've already got some of the string lights on the wire already that I'm putting up. I don't recommend that. I recommend doing the wire first. I had already kind of tried this to see how it would work and if it would just droop too much, which is why I had some of it fastened. But you can see now that I'm running it without any of the lights actually on the wire so that I can get it up there, get it nice and tight, everything where I want it, and then we can put the lights on after the fact, which is a lot easier to do. It's a lot less weight that you're pulling up when you're pulling all this wire around. There's also a couple of ways to run this guide wire. I chose kind of a mix. I ran a few of the runs of the wire in one long strand, and then in a couple of other spots I only ran like one length before snipping it and making turnbuckles. I don't think you want to do too long of runs without turnbuckles because there's going to be no way that you can make those adjustments to get the line taut. and make it not droop. So I wouldn't do more than a couple of runs in a row without those turnbuckles so that you can make sure everything gets tight. So here you can see I have my guide wire all up, going from the first one over to the shed, over to the garage, and then the other fastening points on the garage that then go over to my DIY flower pot string light poles, which worked really well. So you can see how those are attached, going from each point over to the garage, the other one, and now you can see where I have attached to that pole on that post as well, and then over to the pergola. I decided to put a couple extra guidelines between the flower pot mounts and the post that I have up between the pergola and the house, because it helps stabilize a little bit. One of them was bending a little more than the others, so I put these up and tightened them so that they're fairly straight. Ended up working out pretty well, and made it a lot more taut. Now that we have all the guidelines up, we can start attaching the actual lights. So we're going to need a lot of zip ties for this. As you can see, I did the kind of boneheaded way of attaching these string lights initially. I attached one or two, moved the ladder, attached another two, moved the ladder, so on and so forth. I soon realized after doing a couple of runs of this that you can actually just pull up each light on the guideline and attach them, and then pull them across. So you can do 5, 10, 15 of them at a time in one spot, and then grab hold of the line and pull them across to the other side. That works out a lot better, a lot less moving up and down the ladder, a lot less time consuming. So I ended up doing that quite often, which cut the time down on doing this. So there's a little trick for you if you are going to be using the guidelines instead of just pulling up the actual string lights themselves. It'll save you quite a bit of time. All right, I got to the end here of putting up the lights, had a good long strand left over. I didn't quite know how long a length I was going to have, so figured I'd have some left over at the end. And what I did is I just ran it along the house eaves to the other fastening points and fastened it to that last one there, so that you get a little extra light coming out the door. All right, now it's time to do the final adjustments with the turnbuckles, making sure all the lights are similar in their sagging and getting everything nice and tight. And took a little bit of time to get that figured out. And then I did the last little strand adjustment that I had done initially over to the pergola. And this is where my string lights actually attach to the electrical, which is from the string lights that were already installed on the pergola. Once again, here's the final result. Turned out really nice. A lot of work, but worth it in the end. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and post any questions in the comments.